What's the meaning of this? Get out of here this instant!
Remain calm. This is military business.
Someone get the Colonel down here immediately. How did you get past the photonic resonance barriers? Who's the commanding officer here?
Captain Roger Maxson. Doctor, I believe one of our men might have stumbled into this part of the base. I'm here to retrieve him for punitive action. Then we'll be on our way.
Our work is classified beyond your pay grade, Captain. You do know you could be court-martialed just for looking at it.
For looking at what, exactly?
That's irrelevant. You're interfering with the security of the homeland, Captain.
Right now, you're interfering with the security of this base, Doctor, which is my responsibility. Now step aside and let us do our jobs.
What the fuck? Holy shit.
Doctor, where is the sergeant?
You goddamn motherless.
Stand down, soldier. We bring this to the Colonel immediately. Caramillo, go to the holding area and consolidate the surviving prisoners into half the cells. Alan, escort these men to the empty cells.
I can only imagine what was running through the minds of Maxson and his men when they discovered what they had been guarding. Maxson must have thought Anderson and the other scientists had gone rogue. An unauthorized experiment by mad scientists straight out of a horror show.
Hi, Roger Maxson. Captain, serial number 072389. Have started this log because it doesn't look good for any of us. And I'd like for people to know what really happened here. All hell broke loose when we finally discovered what those scientist bastards were up to. The Colonel has locked himself in his office and seems to be having some sort of breakdown. The men are screaming for blood. They're looking to me for answers. I'm not sure what to do. Someone has to do something, though, before this place sinks into an anarchistic bloodbath. Every time we get a report from higher up, things get worse here. The war is going in a very bad direction, and this place is about to go into full mutiny with all the chaos that entails. I stopped one of the men from executing a scientist today and demanded that we interrogate them to find out what their orders were.
Time, Captain. I know what you saw, but believe me when I say it's not what you think. We could all be brought up on charges of treason if I say more. Does that not bother you? Fine. Let me put it to you this way, Captain. We're working to save the human species. That green goo, as you call it, allows us to seize control of our fate. We can control evolution, direct it to save ourselves in this war. Imagine a world without fear of biological weapons. An American race whose potential is not hampered by flaws, but enhanced by them.
If that's true, then why not have a taste of your own medicine, Doctor? Maybe you'll be enhanced.
No, don't open that.
Why not? It's a cure. If it works, I'll make a toast to your good health and take a shot myself.
It's been unpredictable. We need to eliminate variables until we understand the effects better. Any one of the test subjects could be the key. We'll understand more after we...
After trial and error. With a couple hundred human lives. American lives.
These test subjects. They're suspected fifth columnists. Deserters. Conscientious objectors. Surely you, of all people, can see the debt they owe to men like you. Men who served.
Sure. No sense in letting them serve their time peacefully when they can act as empty chambers in your game of genetic Russian roulette. Who knew about this?
The entire research team, of course. I didn't deceive any.
My men. Who knew?
None of them, of course. We had strict protocols to prevent...
Our superiors. Which of them knew?
This project goes straight up to Washington, the president. I was following orders just like you. I'm a soldier in a sense, a military man.
Liar!
If I die, you and your men will be. Please stop!
Those eggheads got high on their own power and went rogue. I know it, you know it, everyone on this goddamn base knows it. And they've made us complicit.
If I may, I heard everything, Captain. Anderson was scared for his life. I believe what he said. As crazy as it sounds.
Captain Maxon.
Report.
Sir, we have a situation on level 3.
On my way.
How about we toss you into that goo and watch you squirm? Our orders come from Washington.
Bullshit. We have to put him down or else the brass will think we're in on it.
He's right.
Put him down!
You're all blind. You think you'll win this war with your guns, but Washington knows it'll only be won with science. We are...
Sir, I need you to come out here. I've done things that contradict protocols for dealing with suspected war criminals. You have to relieve me of my post to show the men that there's still some kind of order here. Washington hasn't said anything, sir. I don't think the brass can spare a general to come down here and clean up this mess. Robert, please say something. Sir, we're gonna knock down the door. If you can hear me, please stand back.
Roger. I'm sorry.
By killing the egghead, I seem to have confirmed my position as leader of the men. They follow me without question now. The interrogations invariably end up being executions. Shellman held out the longest.
No. We want the whole truth. At what point did you and your colleagues go rogue and decide to play mad scientist?
Let me ask you something. Do you think the new plague was a natural occurrence? Countless American civilians died because of that virus. It was Chinese biological warfare.
And how does that differ from the suffering you created with that man-made virus down in the vats?
In that we're saving the many by sacrificing the few. Do you think we relish our work, Captain? Most of my colleagues have been working on a cure for the new plague for 20 years and had nothing to show for it. That's 2 decades of pestilence. Thousands dead because of their failure. Our failure. The Black Death lasted half that time, you know. So, if we can't cure Chinese diseases, then the only recourse is to make ourselves immune to them. That is what the government asked for us to do, and that's what we did. What you call the green goo is our salvation.
No honorable government would sanction this.
You honestly think you're serving an honorable government? There's no honorable government in war, Captain. Our government decided to sacrifice a few deserters to stop a nationwide epidemic. How different is that from ordering a division of fine young men to die? I'm not proud of what I've done, Captain. But given the chance, I would do it again. Not because it's right, but because it's rightfully necessary. Our government is waging a war without precedent, a war for our very existence. They send you boys to fight and die to save our home. Well, they ask us to fight an invisible war, so that you have a home to come back to. If we refuse...
It's as if we killed them ourselves.
Captain,
I'm sorry, Dr. Shellman.
Me too.
The Great War lasted a matter of hours, but it was the culmination of decades of conflict. Before the bombs fell, there were the Sino-American War, lasting 11 long years, the European Civil War, and the wars in the Middle East. The Resource Wars lasted a generation, which witnessed endless conflict using ever more refined weapons, armor, and robots. A generation praying for a place in the vaults, just waiting for the end. A generation that lost hope.
Are we ready to breach?
Yes, sir. It's the last part of the base we haven't cracked yet, Captain.
So, this is a good news, bad news situation. I managed to hack the terminal, but, well, it likely alerted the scientists inside.
Look alive, everyone. The goal is to extract Sergeant Planter without injury. Lieutenant, on my mark. Breach in 5, 4, 3, 2...
Oh my god. He's alive!
Planter!
Sergeant Planter's going to be fine.
We've been incommunicado for days now, Sergeant. Nobody's calling. Nobody's coming. Even black sites must report to someone.
You don't suppose they're planning to come and tie up loose ends?
At least we'd have some answers then. I think I know how to force a response from Washington. But first... Sergeant, I want you to take the transport to housing. Have everyone pack their necessities and move inside the base. Tell them whatever you want, but I want all of our families inside by nightfall.
Jesus, Captain. Are you...
The reality is we have absolutely no idea how this will play out, so I don't want them caught in the crossfire, or used as a bargaining chip. For now, we take a defensible position until we have a clear path forward. And in the meantime, if anyone asks, this is just a routine drill. Makes me sick involving our families in all this.
We know they're already involved, Captain. The men will stand behind your decision.
This is Captain Roger Maxon, serial number 072389. I am the acting commander of the Mariposa military base in Central California. As soldiers, we swore to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Let it be known that oath has been honorably upheld by the brothers here at Mariposa. We've pressed for a response from Washington, but have heard nothing. At this time, we are assuming the worst. Due to violations of the Constitution of the United States by the federal government and dishonorable conduct of its representatives, I hereby declare our relationship with the federal government dissolved at this time. This will remain in effect until contact is reestablished and certain assurances are made. Let it be known that we are acting in what we believe to be the best interest of Homeland Security. What the hell is going on? We declare ourselves to be in full desertion from the Army and no longer under the government's command. What happens? Nothing. Something bad is coming down.
And something bad did come. On October 23rd, 2077, the Great War began and ended. The apocalypse. Humanity pushed back centuries as the slate was wiped clean by nuclear fire. Some places were spared in the conflagration. Mariposa was one of them.
I can't believe those bastards finally did it. Damn them all to hell. It seems inconceivable we weren't targeted.
The Mariposa military base was a black site that just entered service in January that year. Passed over in the initial strike, the men and women of the security team suddenly found themselves the heavily armed heirs of a brave new world.
Sergeant Planter volunteered to go outside today to take specific readings on the atmosphere. It seems the radiation hasn't spread this far. Since he was wearing his power armor, there was no threat to him from radiation. But if he had been exposed, he would have had to be exiled. We don't have adequate decontamination facilities here. I convinced the men we should bury the scientists. I don't know why. Perhaps it was to ease my conscience. I finally started to believe their stories. The last one was dying. My God. What have I become? I've recruited civilians to do jobs my soldiers are too busy to bother with. Many of them are skilled craftsmen, and I'm having them take what they need from the base. We can't leave more than a few automated defenses and force fields. Some of the kids are smart enough to train up as engineers for future use, like my son. I hope I'm not being one of those overly optimistic army dads when I say he has a gift for tuning laser weapons. Not a bad shot either. The facts make me uneasy. I'll have to hope the automated defenses can scare off interlopers until China's next volley of missiles wipes this place off the map for good. This base belongs under a pile of rubble.
Maxon and his followers left the horrors of Mariposa behind and traded them for the horrors of the wasteland. Little did they know that the people responsible for the FEV were still very much alive. Fate would have it that they would cross paths again, but that is a story for another day.
Brothers and sisters, those of us who served at Mariposa learned something that should never be forgotten. We witnessed firsthand the recklessness man embodies when his science is allowed to outpace his morals. Those who called themselves our leaders checked their ethics at the door and let fear decide our future. Never again. The Great War has taught us that if we are to survive, mankind must learn restraint. Let future generations know that the penalty for not heeding this warning is an endless cycle of war. A man once said that the object of war is not to die for your country, but to make the other bastard die for his. It's a powerful sentiment, but it's not one I subscribe to. I think a great soldier is one who prays for peace, because it is the soldier who must bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. Dear brothers, I am sick and tired of war. Its glory is fiction. Its consequences, irreversible. War is only for those who have never fired a shot or heard the groans and bloodied screams of the dying. Our brotherhood might have been born in Alaska, but it became a man at Mariposa.
after Maxon left the base, was torn apart by mutants. Then the Vault Dweller set off a nuclear warhead inside the place. But Maxon did record his thoughts at the time. I also have access to his armor and sidearm that you saw in there. Neuroanalytics from the armor and genetic memory from blood samples on the gun helped me reconstruct the rest of it. As you saw, the Brotherhood was quite different at the start.
Quite a show.
The Brotherhood you see here in the Commonwealth is just one of our chapters, and Arthur was just one of many elders with the name Maxon. Although the West Coast chapter adheres to Maxon's ideals more closely than the East Coast. I hope you get a chance to see what California and the Mojave are like someday.
The Brotherhood's learned from the mistakes of the past and offers us our best chance at a real future.
At least now you have a greater understanding of Roger Maxon. You may even know him better than some of the people in the Brotherhood. I have something else to share. I mentioned that I got some DNA from Maxon's sidearm and his power armor. Truth is, I borrowed them from the Brotherhood. I don't think the Quartermaster knew what they are. Must have thought they were just obsolete tech for the scrap bin. But I noticed that you have a knack for wearing power armor. And I think that you can appreciate the significance of Maxon's suit. It may not be a state-of-the-art T-60 like all the kids are wearing these days, but some of the old models are a bit more versatile. I'd rather see it with you than gathering dust in a Brotherhood storage locker.
Beep, beep, beep. Yeah. Meow. Meow.
Have a riot, Mum.